are dangerous to themselves and other individuals should not be able to obtain a firearm. There isn't a loophole. It's a criminal act, and that's what we have to start calling it. We have to start, number one, following up on red flags. 39 times in the past year, it was law enforcement or it was social services that went to this individual's home. Now, there are 2 Florida statutes. One of them, I don't know if the comment that he had put on YouTube would have qualified for you to Baker Act him, but sending messages telling other students that he was going to murder them and he was going to kill them, I would think certainly would qualify under a Florida state statute for you to have Baker Acted him.
Let me respond to that. First of all, we've talked about the Broward Sheriff's Office and some other local agencies and the FBI getting tips and what have you. America, there's one person responsible for this act. That's the detestable, violent killer. He is responsible for this act. Nobody else but him.
So after my daughter was murdered, I looked into what went wrong in Parkland, and I wanted to know facts. I wasn't interested in politics then at that time until I started looking into the failed policies that were pioneered in Broward County, a restorative justice policy of not holding children accountable, no discipline in the schools. And I found that out myself by looking into all the failed policies. The shooter threatened to shoot up the school, never arrested, allowed in the school again. He threatened to rape students. He skinned animals, never held accountable.
The school resource officer was behind a stairwell wall, just standing there. And he had his gun drawn, and he was just pointing it at the building. And shots started going off inside. You could hear them going off over and over. He was just talking on the radio, and he never did anything for 4 minutes. He's the only one with a gun. He's wearing a bulletproof vest. And he has all that while school security guards, coaches pretty much, were running in, shielding kids.
Senator Rubio, my daughter, running down the hallway at Marjory Stoneman Douglass, was shot in the back.
Yes, sir.
With an assault weapon, the weapon of choice.
Yes, sir.
Okay? It is too easy to get. It is a weapon of war. The fact that you can't stand with everybody in this building and say that, I'm sorry.
Sir, I do believe what you're saying is true.
In a season of loss, it is difficult to find meaning in tragedy. The senseless murder of so many, including my own beloved daughter Alaina, tests the limits of faith and demands more endurance than we thought possible. It is a test abruptly forced on us, and we bear it the best we can. Each of us, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, wives of those lost and loved, strive to find that meaning. I believe we will be seeking it to the end of our days. However, our abiding faith tells us that our Father in heaven has a plan. Although the loss of our daughter Alaina was to us unforeseen, it was not a surprise to him. This gives us comfort during this difficult time. We will not know what this all means until that time, but we know that this thing that has happened does not mean what this does not mean. It does not mean evil will triumph. It does not mean we may do nothing. It does not mean we should turn against one another. We must not struggle over ashes in the shadow of our grief. So instead of the media-fed, activist-inflamed, and politically aggravated din of the past month, I speak today about the real and substantive legislative and policy achievements we made in the state of Florida, earned at an unimaginable cost.
Okay, folks, is still waiting for our guest to arrive. I have not heard from him, so maybe he's having some difficulty connecting. So we'll give that a few more minutes. Our guest this morning or this afternoon, whatever it is, I lose track, is Ryan Petty. And as you may have gathered, Ryan Petty's daughter, 14-year-old daughter, Alaina, was one of the 17 victims of the Parkland massacre in 2018. A gunman entered into the 1200 building of Marjory Stoneman Douglass High School in Parkland, Florida. And in 6.5 minutes, he had shot 34 people. 17 would die, 17 more injured. 2 more would commit suicide approximately a year later. There's no way you can describe what happened as anything but horrific. Doesn't seem to be any good that you can bring out of it. And yet, that is exactly what my guest and the other families of Parkland have done. They've sought to bring good out of this horrible tragedy. And I have felt for some time that the whole gun control argument as relates to these school shootings falls into 2 extremes, in my view. Again, I'm just speaking my opinion. But in my view, they fall into 2 extremes, and one is those who only want to blame the gun, and those who want to blame everything except for the gun. And there are some, even in the Parkland community, unfortunately, that I feel fall into these 2 extremes. But I think most of the Parkland community, Mr. Petty included, have tried to take a holistic, all-encompassing approach to solving this catastrophe. And part of that is looking at mental health. Part of that is looking at this school, the security within the school. Part of that is looking at the law enforcement response once the tragedy has started, and in recognizing the red flags that happened beforehand. Folks, this is such an important show that I think we're going to pull the plug right here and reschedule. Obviously, there's a reason why Mr. Petty was not able to connect. This is an important show, and we'll reschedule. And because I need to do this interview in its entirety. So God bless you. We'll keep you informed as to when we reschedule the show. Thank you.